Everybody can join in here. 1 second. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right, let me just make sure. Join in here. 1 second. Okay, good. It seems to be coming through okay. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So happy Thursday. Turnaround Thursday. So we'll take a look at the market here in a little bit. Today we're going to be continuing our series here on key sectors. And today we're going to be wrapping up that series with the SMH. So good stuff. This is a very important one too. So before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off the market here today, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening. And then we're going to take a look at the topic, and then we'll go through questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX here, big upper shadow day, guys, down 96 points today. So it's a pretty big down move, right? It's kind of funny, right? We got one more day left in the month, so let's see what they do with it tomorrow. Are they going to try to make two upper shadows here off the upper Bollinger Band and try to get this thing down to the mid BB here on the monthly chart? That would be a pretty actually big drop, right? That's a pretty big distance between these two. Right there, get us down to 32.22 if they do end up doing that over the next month or so. But we'll see how it goes up here. Again, we got one more day in the month. They could try to rally it up into the end. And but so far in the weekly chart, right, there are some differences. Right before the Corona crash last time, we had we did have a bearish divergence here off of the RSI right before the big drop. And here we haven't even gotten overbought yet. But some might argue that hey, this is still bearish divergence here. We did go up at, but again, I prefer it to be overbought at those overbought levels before we get any dramatic drops, right? So anyway, so we'll see how it goes right here, but we did have dark cloud cover last week, and we are now seeing follow through back to the downside off of that candle since the week isn't over yet. This trading isn't done yet in this candle. So it was looking good. Like we had a nice green hammer right there, and they just couldn't get over basically 50% of those levels, and that's where we are. So good stuff there. Daily chart, okay, so pretty interesting stuff, right? So our wave count is still intact on the bullish side, right? So we did have a wave 4 pullback right here. And we did have what looks like a wave 1 up. The real question is, right, the big question is this actually wave 5? Right, because technically wave 1 has 5 waves in it, and wave 5 can certainly be truncated, right? So so the real question is wave 5 done, and we're actually starting, right, a more bearish count to the downside. So we don't really want to think about that yet, because as you know, there is oftentimes there are multiple wave counts, right? So like sometimes if you guys check the Elliott Wave Show that Paul and I do, oftentimes he'll be looking at one wave and I'll be looking at it completely differently, right? It's only when you can't find any alt wave counts does it really become super duper strong, right? In terms of confidence in the wave. So that being said, right, if we still hold on to the bullish wave count right here, we do have this wave 1 up. We have an ABC pullback right here. And it is possible, depending on how we open tomorrow, that this could just be a sub-wave 2 pullback of the larger wave 3. And one of the cool things that we found today is that this is actually really a potential harmonic, right? This is a potential butterfly right here. So what we found is that we had a 786 retrace right here. We had an 886 retrace right here, and that qualifies here for a butterfly formation, which means we can either go up to the 1.618 or the 2.618. So I drew it up to the 1.618 here just for illustration. It takes us back up to about 4,005. So we want to see how that goes up here. So let's see if this holds and we can get a nice impulsive wave up here from that. Okay. So good stuff. Let's take a look at the intraday price action and just kind of see what was going on today. So it was mostly just dropping, right? So pretty interesting to start, right? The start of the day was pretty choppy. It looked like they were trying to make a thrust here. We actually went long at the open on the futures and got a nice trade out of that. It ended up reversing, and we got short again, and that gave us a nice trade too. And then it dropped, right? And then it really just started to show its, what it wanted to do, right? We're below the ADMA all day. It's an ADMA day, right, to the downside, right? So every retrace the ADMA, like shortable, right, shortable, and then we got above it, right? And so then it's tried to work its way up. It couldn't do it, right? So we were still below, still below levels, got back below the ADMA, and then kind of closed below it there. So pretty cool stuff. Let's take a look at the S&P futures. We had some major levels that were tested today. And again, we provide all these levels to our members in the bubble report and also in the Discord. before each market opens. So we have a good futures game plan today. So one of the things that we looked at, right, of course, is if we lost the overnight lows. And the overnight lows kept on creeping down the closer we got to the open. So that's kind of interesting. I kept on pushing lower because going into today, things were actually looking, not too bad, right? We had a nice upward trend line yesterday. We were kind of chopping around. It looked like all we had to do is get over the overnight highs and go. But there's always that chance, right? If we lose that geometric line, we lose the overnight lows, that we had some nice space here between our signal zones. So that gave us a nice push down right here, gave a good shorting opportunity on that. And then we started to push our way down again, and we finally got to the single prints from the 23rd from earlier this week, and that's basically where we're holding right now. So again, it looks like they're trying to rally a little bit here. Let's see if we can get some strength into the evening. I know it stinks to see the futures down 14 points, especially if you have a long position on. But let's see what they do. You never know. We could be green tomorrow morning. So again, we're not, it's not, run for the hills yet, right? We still have a couple key levels here. We got some macro trend lines to deal with here on the SPX. We got a bullish wave count that has some potential right here. So let's see how we go going into the rest of the night. So good stuff. All right. So today we're going to wrap up our series here on key sectors. And today we're going to be talking about the SMH. So what's the SMH? So the SMH is the semiconductors. So it's easy to remember because semiconductors, right? So if you pull up the SMH here, right, this is one of the major ETFs here that tracks the semiconductor industry. So it's a pretty cool one. This week we've been talking about how important it is. To know the sector that you're in, that you're trading, of the stock that you're trading, if you're looking at day trading something or swing trading something, to make sure that you have tailwinds behind that trade, right? So the semiconductors are a really important sector, and some folks think that the semiconductors are a leading indicator on the market, especially for the big tech sector. And why would that be? Right? Why is that? Well, because it's the backbone of all technology, right? I mean, you can't run any computing power without the semiconductors, without the processors, right, to do that, right? Or the memory to hold it, right? So this is a very, very important sector for all of tech, right? And therefore for all the market, right? Because that's one of the biggest things. So, I mean, so the semiconductors can be very, very important, right? So you can see they had an epic run up here since the Corona crash. In fact, quite significant, right? So that was a quick drop right there and a huge rally in the semiconductors. And we saw that, manifest itself in a lot of names, right? So, so pretty cool stuff. So when we see the semis are strong, what do we look at, right? So one of the ones we like to look at is NVIDIA and AMD. But guess what the highest weighted holding is on the SMH? TSM, Taiwan Semiconductors. Isn't that interesting, right? So this is the highest weighting by far, right? So this is like a 14%, 15% weighting, right? Everything else is like 5%, 5% or lower, right? Micron 4%, NVIDIA 6%, right? So look at this. So look at Taiwan Semiconductor. Look what it did here. Look at what the semis did. Right? Pretty amazing stuff. And it's also an ADR too, which is kind of interesting, right? So it's prone to gaps, which is kind of interesting, right? So if you think about it, big money likes this, right? Because it's like, oh, okay, we just gapped up again today. Cool. We'll take a little profit right here. We'll gap up again tomorrow, right? Take a little profit here, gap up again tomorrow. Really cool stuff, right? And you can track it, right, too, with the Asian markets as well. Right? So that's really cool stuff. But let's take a look at NVIDIA, right? So NVIDIA, since the Corona crash had a pretty big run up. Right, so had a pretty big run up, and but not as much, not as parabolic as like the TSM, right? But so it had some really good opportunities here. But either way, right, we definitely want to see the semis be strong, right, when we're trading one of these names, right? Same with AMD. Now AMD is actually not even on the top 10 weightings here, which is kind of neat, right? But it still had a little bit of a run up right here, and it got a little bit blah, right? Intel is pretty big weighting, right? So Intel's pretty good, but Intel is kind of in its own little world right here. This thing can go all over the place, but still watch the semis, right? See what see what the semis are up to, so you can track and see what Intel's up to. So cool stuff, right? So anyway, the semis are really important because they're the backbone of technology, right? And if you don't have the backbone of technology, right, then you have issues with a lot of the high beta names that have huge weightings on the S&P, right? So you've got Apple, right? We talked about this week. We had Microsoft, all these big names, right, that rely on semiconductors for their computing power, right? So cool stuff. So actually pretty interesting stuff too, right? Is they're also talking about a chip shortage, right? That's been a big headline recently, right? The chip shortages, and so that could be one of the kind of the undertones here of why the market has been pulling back here recently, like getting people a little bit worried, right? You got chip shortages. What else happened today? We talked about sectors all week today, right? With the XLF had its first really red day in a while. So that gave us more inspiration here to look for shorts. See how the sectors can really help us, right? When the XLF is strong, it's hard for the market to go down. When that XLF gives you a bearish engulfing day, right? Watch out, right? So good stuff. All right, fantastic. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff, guys. All right. So Mike, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Tesla. So Tesla, guys, this is one of the things I put on Twitter, right? Once the trend changes, and the trend did change, right? We had a confirmation below any sort of trend box we had over the upper trend lines here, right, on the 22nd, here this week, right? And so we got some downside follow through on that one. We held some support areas on this one, but once that confirmed, right, now we're below the downward trend lines, right? So again, rips become shortable, right, in a lot of those areas right here. So again, we're still below the trend line. We've got a down move right here. We'll see what Tesla has in store for tomorrow. It may want to come back and test this zone. Again, below this zone, right, you got a couple interesting levels in here. 550 is an interesting level, then 450, right? You get to the 200-day moving average in that area. It could be interesting for Tesla. I sure wouldn't mind to see Tesla nap back down to like, 100, $200, right? Make it really a little more tradable again, but we'll see how that goes. And then Amazonius with an increased volume down day to day. Wow, this thing is such a mess, right? So this is we've been tracking this triangle for a while, and like we said, if it's a truncated fifth, it's a truncated fifth, right? So we have so many levels here, but the big thing really kind of to track right now is to check our trend line on this. Right, so we go to the lows right here. I'm gonna have to redo this chart here. In fact, let me redo this. Clear drawing set. All right, let's go clear right here, and then we'll go from the lows, the recent lows, Corona crash lows. Right, so we go to the highs, and we just find the next spot that we don't intersect, which is right there. Okay, so there's our trend box. Right, so we're basically chopping around in the trend box. It's a triangle too, right? So, but this is the level right there. Okay, so we're really just chopping right here until Amazon can close and confirm with increasing volume below this candle right here, right? We're still in the chop zone, right? Until it wants to hit all-time highs, then we'll have a fresh upward trend line. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here for Amazon. In the meantime, it could test a couple levels below. It's generally looking pretty weak here with the market overall. So good stuff. Seiko, what's going on? CRM. Yeah, CRM with a drop after hours. Yeah, so CRM again, guys. But keep an eye. I'm not like we would trade into earnings like this, right? But off at the top of the channel, off at the bottom of the channel, off at the top of the channel. Where's it going? Maybe to the bottom of the channel. So we got that going on there. Yep. And then RKT. Yeah, RKT with a earnings move too, right? So a little bit up after earnings right here. I heard it was a pretty good one. So good stuff there. All right, cool. So Shirley, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look. So Shirley sent a few in via email. I hope you're doing well. So we've got Baba on the radar. So let's take a look here. So Baba, let's see. So Baba with a drop here, inside day down here on Baba. So it got really, really tight, right, and then back down. So again, it couldn't get over this ascending triangle right here. It may still be pulling back, getting ready for a move. Let's see how it holds. Really, the next level down here for Baba is this congestion zone down here, right? We want to see how that holds as support. So interesting move there for Baba. We also have HD. So HD with a nasty inside day today, right? So again, this one was pulling back pretty hard, right? And inside area here, if that ends up breaking down, just a little bit of caution off of that going into tomorrow. Lows, again, another one as well. Again, that one broke down below the cloud. A little more volume would have been cool, but this is after earnings. So it does look like it wants to at least tag that 200 days. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. Costco, again, retail. Woo! Retail. So it took the inside day down right here, and what a nasty move on this one. I think was there some news on Target after hours? It dropped a little bit, I heard, but I thought there was some news on Target today, or so. I thought I remember hearing something in the background. Anyway, Target at the 50-day moving average too, but Costco, that's a pretty nasty candle for Costco. What I do like about Costco is that it's going to go up again, right? This is, the most epic, company, right? So, but it is under the 200-day moving average, so really just kind of wait and see, right? We got a couple levels down here. You've got a, kind of a consolidation zone right here. You've got another zone right here, right? And then below there, you've got this stuff, right? So see how these holds. One of these are going to hold, right? And then Costco's going to be ready to roll. So let's see how that goes on Costco. So hopefully, right? That's what we would assume on such a solid company. Guild, again, pullback right here. Just kind of chopping around here after hours, hanging on to the 50-day. Kind of in the chop zone overall, right? We got some geometric lines to contend with. Could be a sideways cup and handle in the works, right? So here's your cup, here's your handle potential, right? So you can kind of see how it holds there if it's ready to make a move into earnings. So definitely want to keep an eye on there for Guild. Let me get that geometric line back up there. There we go. Cool. So good stuff. Awesome. GG, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look at JMIA. Let's see. So JMIA with a big inside day upper shadow off the ADMA, right? So a little bit of caution off of that one. Pulled back there off of that. Still holding the 50-day, right? But I don't like this ADMA kind of curling its way down like that, right? So it had a interesting move after earnings, but not much, right? So we'll continue to monitor it and see how it goes. Plug, again, this is a good one, right? So let's see how it goes right here again. A lot of these ones were looking like evening. Sorry, guys. I said evening star reversal all night. Last time I meant morning star reversal. Morning star means it's rising, right? Ready to go. Morning rise. But anyway, I think it was late. It was in the evening, so it made me think of it. Anyway, a lot of Morningstar reversal candidates yesterday. This one never didn't quite qualify, but it is pulling back here again. Big upper shadow off these levels, and and a pullback there after earnings, which was into today, right? So just kind of had a little bit of a pullback off of that outside of the cloud. So keep an eye on that one here, and then TDOC again had okay earnings, but then a downgrade this morning after it. And nasty pullback. In fact, I think this was on the bearish radar going in today, or it was on our 15 orb list going in today. So nice breakdown here on TDAC. Right here's the 15 orb breakdown, and then have a nice day. So good stuff. Look at that weekly chart. Oof. I think that's an evening star, almost an evening star reversal here on the weekly chart, but not quite. Anyway, cool stuff. Good. Okay, James, what's going on? Good to see you. Creighton, what's going on? Long time to see. Hope you're doing great. Let's take a look at DXCM. So DXCM. Again, nasty little pullback right there off the ADMA. See how it holds your 200-day. ZBRA. Yeah, Zebra with a nice bounce off the ADMA here so far to see if that can continue to hold. It's been an epic trend so far. Lulu. Let's take a look at Lululemon. So Lulu, I know it was on Paul's radar this week from the Bubble Report. You know me with Lulu. I had an alt count on this one, so I think it's working on the alt count right now. Ended up taking the inside day down, but that's cool. X a nasty upper shadow off the ADMA there too. XL. Tried to gap over the inside day right there. Try to get into this gap and then just get pulled back here with the market. The market didn't help a lot of these names here today. TMO again. Remember a great breakout here on this level, just fantastic. That just couldn't get any more strength out of it, right? Then it started to break down below the 50-day moving average here. Look where it wanted to get back to. Same place where it was familiar, right in that area. We're actually below it right now. So here's your kind of next bounce level right here. So see how that holds there on TMO. Baidu. Let's take a look. Baidu with an inside day down today. I tell you, Baidu gives some pretty good moves these days. It used to be blah, but this thing has just been epic for a while. It was okay here today, but wow, down after hours there a little bit there too. It's pretty nasty stuff. But see how it goes. See if you can get outside follow. If it breaks down below today's lows, right? We could see some more downside follow through on Baidu, and then you got Vive. So Vive there under the 50-day moving average now. Let's take a look now with an upper shadow there off the 50-day moving average. Edit. Let's take a look. Yeah, Edit not looking so good. Ooh, wow, Edit. Wow, Editas, yeah. That thing was epic for a while, wasn't it? Then it lost the bow and arrow support, right? And then just crunched. So a little bit rough there. TDOC again after earnings, a little bit of pullback there. So see how it holds the 200-day. The Big C. The Big C. Again, it tried yesterday, but again, basically bearish engulfing candle after that one here today. And then W. Yeah, W nasty. That's a nasty upper shadow, and it's a little bit too big to be a flag right now. So watch that upper shadow and see where we go from there. So good stuff. Yeah, my pleasure, great, and good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Michael, yeah, VXX. I know, peas in a pod for sure. Yeah, the VIX is interesting, right? So this is one of my, it's funny, at the close today, I was like, the VIX looks okay, right? So anyway, right at the back of the 50-day moving average here and the daily cloud. And then GME, guys, and this is another comment, right? So there's a couple, underlying factors out there. So you got a couple of the big things that are affecting the market right now that I've seen, right? You got the semiconductors, right? You got the chip shortage going on, right? So that's a big issue. It's a big concern, right? The other issue, you've got the Fed basically the other day lost power and couldn't do transactions. Well, I mean, they're the ones that are like supposedly keeping the market up, right, with all their quantitative easing. And if they can't do transactions, That's not good. So I'm kind of not surprised to see the XLF pull back there today with that bearish engulfing candle, and then kind of went from there. Um, and then um, and then the GME, right? So this thing last time this thing spiked like crazy, right? The market went crazy, like so the effect of these meme stocks, right, is also kind of interesting too. How it's like GameStop goes up and the market goes down now, right? So it's kind of interesting. It's almost like they're forcing it down to kind of leverage their short positions in these crazy meme names. But anyway, it was an epic day today, right? There was actually some long setups in this one today that made some decent moves, and there was some short setups on it too. So it's been a wild mover. But let's see what it does. Nasty pullback here today, guys. That range of today's candle was 131 points. So hit a high today of 184, 200 overnight, right, and then back down to 100, but it's still over 100, right? So again, let's see if we can get under the 200-day moving average and get back to like $5, but we'll see where we go from there. Pretty wild stuff. Yeah, it's on bubble. I love it. Good stuff, Michael. Thank you so much, James. So you give credit to the TNX. So the TNX. Yeah, look at that. Woo! Big move right there on the 10-year bond into the weakness of the market currently now. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people look at it as a flight to safety, right? Whether it's a leading indicator or not, a lot of folks flee into bonds when the market is going down, right? So kind of interesting stuff here, but it has been on the rise here recently too, so that is interesting as well. But not surprised to see the spike there today. Twitter, almost doubled. Yeah, I know exactly. So what's up with that? So anyway, good stuff there. But Twitter again had they came out with their 3-year number projection or something like that today, and they had a huge gap up today. But then the market itself just kind of kept it down, right? So it was too bad because it was moving pretty nicely there pre-market. So good stuff there. So James, chips, yeah, even important for auto. Oh yeah, exactly, yeah, for autos, cars. I mean everything. I mean it's really important. Yeah, very important stuff, guys. So I definitely could be have some undertones here in the market. So good, Michael Phillips, you love TSM? That's awesome. That thing can gap like crazy. That's awesome. Sharon, Twitter to 150. Wow, what a call on that one. So could be, yeah, it could be. Let's see how it goes right here. I mean, a little bit of a red candle here today, but it could be a bull flag breakout. Just retesting it. We'll see if it continue to grind its way up there. It would be a little bit higher and get a little more crazy, a little more active, but it does its thing. So good stuff there. Great find. I love it. Creighton, so why are people so quick to freak out? Now everyone wants instant gratification. Do you think social media has a lot to do with this? Oh yeah. I mean, guys, this happens every time, right? Anytime the market has like a red day, oh, the bears are like, oh, this is it, right? Because there's so much negative stuff out there anyway, right? What they don't see is all the positive stuff, right? That's why you like people, we like people like Kathy Wood, right? Who emphasizes all the innovation that's going on there, and the fact that a lot of these companies are actually doing quite well despite the pandemic, right? A lot of companies are. There's a lot of companies that aren't, right? But a lot of folks like to focus on the negative stuff, and so when you have a down day, right? And and the thing is, Creighton, is that the stock market is tied to emotions, right? If you think about it, right, anytime you put money on the line, your emotions are involved. And why is that, right? Because you work hard, right? You invest your emotional energy in exchange for money. So if you put your money in exchange for a stock and it's going down, right, it's kind of eating away at your emotions, right? So it's not only is it affect your emotions, but it's also an emotional barometer too, in a lot of ways. Right, so now this has been kind of a weird barometer here during the pandemic, but there is still good stuff that's going on out there, right? And so with companies succeeding and posting good profits and innovating and doing great stuff, right? So when you start to see down moves like this, people are like, "What's going on?" Especially if they're used to it, right? As human beings, we get used to a certain trend, right? And then things start to change a little bit, right? We get people freak out. It's just human nature. That's the nature of the stock market. That's why it goes up and it goes down, and it's been doing it since it started. Right, so we got that going on. So the SOX, the SOX is another good one too. Another good semi-industry. I mean, as well. I mean, you can see here, just kind of pulling up, I mean, same thing, right? Whatever your preference is. A lot of folks do like the SOX. So that's another good one too. So your preference, right? So all good, but just a good one to track. So Micah, Sierra News, Sierra. Syria news, no bueno. Okay, so no, not good there. Let's take a look at the DIA. Yep, and the Dow too. But again, pretty epic run off of the Dow as well. But also a bearish engulfing candle here off the daily chart here. Or the YM and also the Qs and the Nasdaq. See if we can spot if there's a divergence or no. There was some recent. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was interesting here with the Dow today. The Dow was actually green pre-market, right? And everything else was red, right? So a lot of times you see those divergences, right? But again, the Dow is not as heavily tech weighted as tech in the S&P, right? Don't forget, right? The S&P is heavily weighted, right, by the B5, right? So cool. Sharon, CCIV. Let's take a look. CC, yeah, again, guy, I think this thing is just kind of working its way down. Probably wants to test 50-day moving average on that one. PLTR, yeah, oh, nice. Yeah, so PLTR was good. Yeah, so PLTR, guys, again, we lost the bullish wave count the other day, right? This is why we don't like to go long on the first wave. That's why we like wave threes, right? So with this, right, we had our first wave up, and then it was pullback, and it completely invalidated the wave, right? The ABC was legit. Right, my original short or our original short concept here from the B wave down was great. It got right to these levels here, and then we were thinking for a bounce. Kathy got involved in it, kind of confirmed a little bit, but we just couldn't get over the ADMA, right? And then we ended up invalidating it right here, taking out these levels. So I can really just kind of remove this right here, and I mean we're basically just working our way down, right? So I mean if you kind of zoom out here, let's go and look and see. I mean from this last trend up, let me see if I get a cleaner chart here. From the last trend up. One sec. Here, right here, right? We've we've definitely confirmed below the upper trend line, the downward trend line, with volume. Today actually. So I mean, this thing is working on itself on a downtrend. Right. So we got this here, right? So it's below its downward trend line right now, right? So definitely something to keep an eye on there on PLTR. Yeah, for sure. So cool, and it's below, and it got below the, I believe, or it's not. It's working and testing the cloud bottom here on the daily. So good stuff there. Oh, we got an airstrike there. Okay, thanks, Sharon. Yeah, I was like, oh boy, great. Yeah, well, that doesn't help things. So yeah, news tends to come in cycles too. Tracy, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, Nvidia, nasty pullback here today on Nvidia. Again, good earnings, right? Not so good about their ARM stuff. So again, big volume here to the downside, and Nvidia gave a bunch of short opportunities today as well. Again, the premiums are still blah, but that's thanks to a lot of the volatility right there. So ZS looks like a doji reversal on that one here. Etsy, I believe, earnings after hours? Wow, all over the place after hours. All over the place. So big spike up right there and kind of back in today's range. So premium chop crusher right there. Etsy, so see where it gaps tomorrow if it gaps. APPS, again, kind of a nasty down move right there today, inside day down. And then PLTR we just looked at. So good stuff. Thanks, Tracy. Good to see you. John, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, SOS. Yeah, are you making a signal for the market? Or I was kidding. So anyway, big gap down off the inside day, right? We talked about this, right? How important it was to either be above the ADMA, right? If you're at least going to have a bullish sentiment. But once you're below it, right, it's hard, to guess where the levels are. You can get some Fibonacci levels on there. You can find some congestion zones. But if it's under it, right, watch out, right? Because that really helps with trend detection. So good stuff there. SPK, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look. So Melly, let's look. Samir, good to see you. So yeah, Melly, look at that nasty candle right there. Woo, as it heads into earnings there. So nice breakdown candle on that one. Good stuff. The Perma Bears haven't eaten in months. I know exactly. They're hungry. Oh, I'm sure they're gonna be all over it too. That's basically the one reason I like the market to go up, just to watch the Bears be like, oh. Anyway, so ORCL, Oracle, let's take a look, James. Yeah, Oracle, epic move, right? So look at that, double doji up today, and then it ended up reversing off of it. But still give a nice move there at the open. That was a good find today, too. Yeah, good relative strength, so Crane, so what happens when a stock gets overcrowded? And do you think that's what we might be seeing with PLTR and Fubo again? Well, no, I mean, right, so overcrowded, I'm not really sure what you mean by that. But if you mean like a lot of volume coming in, right, we definitely want to notice that, right? So, here when you can see him piling into it, something, right? So like my friend says, elephants don't fit through doorways, right? When you see him start piling into something right there, that's where we get interested, right? And then when it's doing nothing, we want to see low volume. Then start piling into it again. Now it's coming down. They start piling out of it, right? So again, interesting area right here. See if we break down below the cloud and see what happens on that one there too. And it could be happening the same thing with Fubo as well, right? So again, just depends on the volume, right? So volume is not as bad as the PLTR right now. So see how Fubo does into earnings. Could be an interesting one. And then GAA, loving the stream. Awesome. Well, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. See, it looks like the Bears are okay. All right. So, let's see. Yeah. Hold on one sec. Yeah, I'm going to have to... Yeah, Seiko, sorry man, but we just too much inappropriate comments. So anyway, Craig, what's going on? One last thing, if you had to recommend one book to your viewers that has helped you build your strategy, what it would be? Trading in the Zone. Wow, Trading in the Zone is an epic one too. I mean, there's so many good books out there, right? But there's a couple really good ones out there that, if you combine them, John Carter's book, Mastering the Trade, is a really good one. And I think Trader Vic's book, Methods of a Wall Street Master, I'd probably put that on the top of the list. Those are some really, really excellent ones. So yeah, if those three are really good, right? But there's plenty of other ones too that are really excellent too. And Brian Shannon, that's right. Yeah, Brian Shannon, one of our special guests too, with trading on multiple time frames. Excellent concepts there too, right? So it's very important to see that. So good stuff. And Michael, yeah. So Pan D and CDXD, where were these? Let me take a look here. So Pan D. Yeah, I know. Why wasn't that? Why wasn't I long in that one? And then CDXC, let's take a look. Pretty epic. Yeah, maybe we'll get Brian Shannon back too. Yeah, we'll try to get Brian back. So we'll have to do a couple more guests in the future too, for sure. But in the meantime, we still got Paul on Sundays with the Elliott Wave Show. So good stuff there. Ron, thanks so much. Thanks for tuning in. The Nest, you just caught it. You just caught it. Let's see, TGT, we just looked at, guys. The retail sector kind of got slammed here today. To the 50-day moving average. IQ, strangely green candle there today, but kind of nasty after hours. LFMD, again, just kind of blah there. See how it handles that 19 level on that one. ONDS, and epic stuff there too. Remember, trying to take that bull flag out. It's kind of coming back and testing it here. Let's see how it holds. I'd like to see it get back over the ADMA on that one. Yeah, all you need is TPP, right? Exactly. So good stuff. All right, guys. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in this evening. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this series on key sectors. We will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, especially for the Bubble Report and for the Discord members. But we'll see you guys on Sunday night with Paul with Algo 382 for the Elliott Wave Show. So good stuff. And so that'll be fun too. So be sure to tune into that. And also, guys, if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe on YouTube. And whether you're new here or not, or if you're watching the recording, please hit the like button. It goes a long way. We really appreciate that. And if you're not in our group, you can consider joining. We've got the Bubble Report that we put out every morning. We have our Discord group too, where we go live at the open and close, and we talk all day, look for setups, and find some great stuff. We've got our newsletter with that, and we'll be putting that out this weekend too. So hope you guys can join us there too. The links are in the description. In the meantime, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And we'll talk to you guys